I can't see that camera. It moves to the right.
You sounded too much like Brian.
Take two.
In the city like a
Classics.com.
in the city like a tourist, taking pictures for forever. Just me and music on a transit. I could ride this out forever. I'm in the city like a tourist. In the city like a tourist. I'm a Virgo, not a...
Hello, and thank you again for joining us in another episode of Summer Sit Downs, which is us telling you what are our thoughts on current films and TV shows that are currently running. Films, FUBU, for us, by us. That's what LL Cool J said. Okay, so say hello to the critics. Ro, Jessica, and Gabby. Welcome back, ladies. If you are watching us for the first time and listening for the first time, shame on you. But this is how it goes. We will each have two uninterrupted minutes to express our thoughts, opinions, and critique on the selected films and shows. Honestly speaking, we really never stick to the 2 minutes, but you don't mind because you wouldn't be back to watch and listen, right? So we're having fun and you're having fun listening to us have fun. Okay, so let's get started. First film, Mary J. Blige. My life. My life. Who wanna go first? Who wanna go first?
Jessica disappeared. Oh, there she goes.
Oh, she changed. Gabby, you wanna go first?
Baseball. I'm the 411.
Okay, so being that Jessica is switched, she's ready. So I think Jessica should take this one.
Oh,
go ahead, Jess. Take it ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and sip.
Okay, well, listen, Mary, I've always been a fan of. I mean, I think there's not a woman, especially a black woman alive, that does not have the ultimate respect for Mary J. Blige. She was a representation for all of us. So in many ways, different ways of form. So it was just the fact that she even had a documentary. I'm tuning in right away. It was focused surrounding around My Life album. And to hear her speak behind it, to hear it from the horse's mouth, what she was feeling, what made her write that, what made her want to go down that path, the pain that she was in, the confusion that she was going through, the overwhelming of what was going through her own life, her personal life at the time, and then I knew most of her backstory behind that, leading up to her becoming famous. But what was going on behind the My Life album, no clue about that. To listen to that, to understand, and then for her to learn the impact that what she had on people that she didn't know. Yeah. She'd be in interviews and folks be like, "You don't see yourself as a star, do you?" She's like, "No, I don't." They'd be like, "But you are." Mm-hmm. And she just like, she was a round-the-way girl. And as LL Cool J would say, and I think that was a beautiful way to get us out to the forefront, because there was no lack of representation for men in hip-hop at all at that time. Or even for R&B, because she holds the crown for both R&B and hip hop. And I think that her coming to the forefront like that, and then the people around her like, okay, no, we're gonna make you be you, but we're gonna have to do it this way. And to bring that all out, we bringing out the boots, we bringing out the jerseys, we bringing out just allowing her to be her. And for me, it was always I love the My Life album. I had more of a connection to What's the 411 because most of my favorite songs came off of that album. But My Life album, you just feel it in your soul when she sings it. You feel Mary in your soul, period, anyway. But to hear that album, after I watched the picture, I listened to the album 2 days in a row. Didn't listen to nothing else. I was just listening to Mary. I loved it to death. I give it 5 stars. And personally, when documentaries like this come out, I prefer to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Word.
I prefer she gave it to you from front to end. And let's just do a toast here for Andre.
Amen.
Yes,
Rest in peace.
Yes.
Rest in peace, greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Harrell.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize how much in his corner, on her corner, that he was. I had no clue. So to know that it was like, damn, Andre Farrell was there too. Like so many of us on the up and up was in her corner to help get her to where she was. So it was just beautiful to see all that. Even to see a young Diddy again. It was like, damn, you look how young you are. Look how skinny you are. It was just, time has changed you. But
I'm
even he
glad to see
couldn't
that I'm
deny.
rubbing off on y'all.
But even he couldn't deny what the impact that she brought to the land of R&B and to hip hop. And prior to that, we hadn't seen that. Like the women of R&B at the time were very distinct. They were distinguished, dignified, or what have you. No, Mary brought you, like, some of us are a little down here, not necessarily understand what I say, in the gutter, but that was what was being pushed to the forefront, and it was nice to have that acknowledgement. And that's something that we didn't have to see at that point, let alone in the 90s. Come on now.
I agree. Who's up next? Or should I?
I'll go ahead and spit my 2 cents here for the Mary J. So MJB, I love the My Life documentary. I like the presentation of what it has to offer. Again, the fans to know a little bit more about Mary, seeing her struggles, her insecurities, even, her high points and her low points. But I believe My Life was more in specific talking about the low points that she was facing during that time. Coming from the female's perspective, she brought that flavor to the hip hop. I remember growing up watching Real Love, so it was just like they said, her style that she came out with. Also, like one of the favorite tracks, I remember growing up as a child, my dad used to like, I'm going down, you ain't around, ooh, baby. So, so definitely I enjoyed the documentary. Also was hyped because my last concert I went to was actually at the Barclays Center. That was the Nas and the Mary J. Blige concert. When I mean fire, she brought that fire. The whole crowd, it was good. And I am, still elated that got to experience that and be a part to see Mary J. Blige perform, as well as, Escobar, Nasty Nas.
Yeah.
I love me some Nas.
Yeah.
So yeah, the documentary I would recommend folks, if you really want to get an understanding of who Mary is and some of the stuff that she was going through, just an insight, this takes you there. It's not too long. I like how they broke down with the chapters. Like it was more like an album type of when they broke down the different segments. As well as, the story with her and Casey. Is it Casey she was dealing with?
It was Casey.
And you realize, like, when you're at a particular age, like everyone goes through certain things. And just looking back, I'm like, yeah, they were going through their stuff at a particular age. And when you love somebody really, you experience your heartbreak, giving your all to someone, and then, for them to just turn around and kind of like whatever. But,
be garbage. Go ahead. You can say it. You can say it. You know I will.
So, yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
I mean, but we learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's one of those things. So I'm a end it by there saying I enjoyed it. I'll say 4.75. Enjoyed the documentary. It wasn't too long. Good songs, make you feel good type of vibes, throw you back in that essence. But yeah, honor and love and respect to Mary J. Blige. Happy that she's around. Also, you can't dismiss Diddy too, P. Diddy and Andre Harrell, Bad Boy Entertainment that, gave the songs that we grew up on in the 90s. So them hits.
Okay. Who's Ro?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind going. Just like you guys, I really love the documentary. I think that my favorite part of the whole scene of it was that she was so transparent doing all of it. And, My Life came out in 94, and I'm trying to think, because there's so much I want to say about it. I can relate so much to the album because, personally in 94, I was going through a lot myself. I was a young mom, so I had, a small child in 94. I was going through heartbreak myself. There was a lot of stuff going on. And when she came out with that album, I could literally remember listening to that album over and over again, crying, being upset, just feeling down. And again, not knowing her story, just thinking at the time that somebody's just making good songs about heartbreak and not knowing that she's actually, going through these things herself. So when I watch the documentary and I see her going down this timeline, my timeline is matching so much with that. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, even when they brought back the era of what a lot of young Black, people who grew up in the projects were going through. I grew up in the project. So it was just so much just looking at that and being like, this is why she was so relatable. It made sense. It finally made sense. I love the fact that the documentary was for us, for people who grew up with Mary J. Blige and maybe people who didn't, So even if you were younger or, in your early 20s and you didn't know a lot about her story, but you just love her music, you were still able to follow along with the documentary and not feel lost. Like, well, that wasn't my era. I don't know anything about that. They made it relatable to everybody. And I really, really like that as well. Like you, Jessica, I love that it was coming out of her mouth. I love the fact that she cursed. I didn't know she had such a potty mouth. Fucking right. She cussing, I'm cussing too. I'm like, okay, she had no shame in being who she was. I can totally understand. I think what grabbed me the most with the whole, and this is for anybody who wants to know how to, when you're in a situation that's not for you and you're getting out of it, and you are respecting who you were, and also with who you are now. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm choking on, but she has never forgot who she was as a person. When she said she was nurturing her younger self and protecting her baby who was her, I know what she means by that. That's why a lot of Black women grow up with these thick skins, because we're always protecting who we were, because we want to stay who we are. And she did not lose that. And she talked about that so much during the documentary, that I'm protecting who I was. I'm still, looking at that 5-year-old Mary. I'm looking at that 20-something-year-old Mary, because this is why I'm this Mary. And I understand that. So she gave us permission to have that thick skin, to be unapologetic, to be like, this is why I'm the way I am. And this is a superstar. This is somebody that, can have any reason to say, I don't even ever want to think about where I was from. She's still conscientiously open, to who she was. And the documentary just showed that. So it made it seem like if I was to walk somewhere and see Mary J. Blige, I could feel like now I could go up to her and not see her as this mega. I mean, she is a mega star, but she made herself seem so much like me, and I'm sure like others, that it was just phenomenal. And I think that's what I love the most about it. They just made it very humane, and that's what made it, me really love it. So I'm just saying, I'll give it about a 4.5, only because I was a little bit, I don't know why they decided to use so much graphics in it, and I don't understand that point, and that's just me coming from I think me and you talked about that, Trisha, at one point about, documentaries, and they using like a lot of the graphics instead of actually using her, but maybe that's all they had. And I have a feeling, Mary it's probably a lot of stuff she didn't want them to talk about, because she seems still very private. And in some senses, some things she says, she still seems very hurt. She still seems like she's healing. And I think she admitted that, she's still healing, and she's 5 years older than me, and she's still in a healing process. So also gave us permission to be like, the healing really never stops when you go through things. So all in all, just loved it. I really did.
Really, man,
I like the animation though. The animation.
You like the animation?
Yeah, I
I
did too.
love
Dislike
animation
I
transitions.
wanted to comment on it too.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it. I just think that I don't know if it was used for like kind of like, I don't know. Just I've seen some where they use the animation, and it's like almost like when we watched. I told you I watched My Mother's Garden, which is something else, and they used the animation, and it
didn't make sense.
This did fit a little more,
Yeah.
but again, I don't know if it was just to kind of segue into other stuff. But I wasn't against it. I just feel like I guess I was just looking for more, because there was a lot of the animation. I mean, almost a lot of more of it just with her, just showing her talking, because she was in it, but she wasn't in it as much as I thought she was going to be. But every time she opened her mouth, it was enough to carry through, through the. I mean, when she said something, she made sure she said what she was going to say. So you didn't really need her to be in every second of the documentary. So. Yeah.
I think, but it helped to lighten the load just a little bit, if anything.
You think
because there was a
that's
lot,
why they
because there was some
chose to do
talking
that?
about some very deep things at
It
one
was.
point.
It was.
So
I agree.
The animation that they put towards that and the graphics that they add, they're still in part in telling the story, but it did lighten the load a little bit, and it did lighten the mood
from
a
that
little
aspect,
bit.
I can see that. Mhm.
Okay, let me go. So, 25 years celebrating one of the best albums in history, my opinion. These are the words that just scream to me: inspiration, perseverance, survivor, legend, the most humble queen, nature giver naturally. It takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable. And as she's, getting older and whatever, she's still not ashamed to be vulnerable. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about her. You spoke about the animation. I do too. I think it made sense, and I actually liked it because we see that she's still healing. The animations actually reenacted some of the some of her tales where I'm sure she didn't want to, like really elaborate on. So seeing the like the instant reaction, not reactions, but the reenactments kind of play out what it could have looked like, made sense to me. I'm gonna give a small example. When she when she met Casey, and somebody was saying, oh, she finally met somebody who also was, in projects or whatever, and singing to themselves and whatever, who got it, who understood what she was growing up in, and understood her mentality and understood why she loved music the way she do. And they had that animation of a little boy and a little girl in the room, singing to, but they're singing to each other, and then they cut to them actually singing to each other. I thought it made sense. It made sense in a lot of directions. I actually liked how they titled it, because some of the titles was actually song titles.
So all of them
they
were
song
Yeah,
titles.
all of them
So
were.
I thought that I would look up. This is very Puff. This is so Puff. Like,
Yeah, I did.
that's what I kept saying. This is so Puff. I remember the Anita Baker and her performance, the Rapture performance, and I loved when Anita sung "Don't Cry, Don't You Cry," and she was like, "Oh no, I don't, but you cry, honey." But I thought that was so cute. It was. I remember that performance. The fashions. I can't not talk about Mary. If you can't talk about fashions, I mean, you can't talk about Mary without talking about her fashions. That was iconic and within itself. I think she's the inspiration for all the TLC's escape, being comfortable in your sexuality, but still throwing on a pair of Timbs, and some big earrings and rocking it. That was Mary. She did that first. So I love to see the transition and the growth, and that black with the fur with the boots thing. Like, what size is that? Can I borrow it? Can I borrow it? We grew up with her, like you said, Ro. We grew up. We watched her succeed. Well, in our definition, now that we know what success meant to her, it makes a lot of sense. So I should say we watched her survive her trauma and depression that she has been going through for quite some time. One of the things that she said that really hit me was she was screaming and nothing was coming out. That's what hit home for me. And it made me like, oh, wow. I always felt like she was a big sister, figure and whatever. But that was like, yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. And it felt, I don't know, it felt good to see that somebody got it on her level and was like relating to it and was being honest about it and not being ashamed of it. Now, I'm sure she don't have people, she probably did have people that are like, oh, no, you can't talk about that publicly, or you can't talk about, because black people don't get depressed or black people don't go to therapy. But here she was, this 13 albums in icon, relaying that I suffered, depression, and what have you. And it felt good to see that. It just did. It felt good to see that. I loved seeing all of the participating comments from Nas and Puff and Taraji and Method Man, who was looking good, hella good.
His fine self,
You
yes.
know what I'm saying? I love her relationship with Puff. I love her relationship with Puff and her sister. And Misa, Puff's first baby daddy. When he said, she was heartbroken, and I was heartbreaking too because Misha was my love. I was like, boy, like, we want to review that part. You sure you want to say that out loud? Like,
Listen, we could do a whole damn doc.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I was heartbroken too. I lost
you
my
also
love.
wanted, when you talked about her 90s style, you got to give credit to Misa.
To Misa, you have to.
Yes.
She's the one that styled
She
very,
the one,
really,
yeah. But I'm talking about when he was like, "Oh, she broke my heart." She broke really. Should we review? Like, I ain't. Come on. But that was huge. That was big sis. That's big sis for life. And I loved, like you said, Ro, seeing her continue to grow. And it's not like, oh, I'm at my plateau. This is it. No, she's like, this is where I am now, and this is where I'm looking forward to. And I love that they added comments from fans that to see her and whatever. One of the sisters said that you saved my life. I thought about jumping and I didn't because of your album. And I felt that was so necessary to see black women express themselves like that.
Yes.
And I loved it. I loved it. I give it a 5 too. I give it a 5. Thank you,
If I may
MJB.
pick you off of what you were saying before, like both of you were saying about her progression. I never thought about it even before. I didn't until even before the doc. The first time I saw Mary J. Blige live was in Manhattan, and for a while she was only playing small venues. She liked to be very intimate with her audience. And I saw her, this was the My Life 2 album. When that dropped, she she went on tour with that, and she did a mixture of songs between both My Life and My Life 2. So by the time My Life 2 came out, she said like, well, at least an album, I didn't sense as much pain as I did in the My Life album. At this point, she had, battled her addiction, overseeing that, went through. She was married at this point. She had a family now, so her life was headed in a different direction. And to see that reflected in her music, I was like, oh God, now at least I thought at that point, like, finally, we got married at the point where she's happy, she's, married, she's taking in children, and she and it's reflecting in that music as opposed to My Life. Now,
Word.
I know folks, like you said, they showed fans on there who was very appreciative of her music. I know other fans where, like, don't get me wrong, they still love Mary, but it's like, I love Mary, but I liked her music better when before. Like, when her and KC together, I was like, you mean when they was beating the shit out of each other? That's when you liked her music?
But
like,
you know
no.
what? That's telling on that person. Because, like, I loved her happy and sorrow music. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Too, exactly.
Because it's honest music. Because it's
No
honest.
More Drama, that's an anthem. That's an anthem.
That's a good one too.
That's an anthem. And, you can say, oh, I loved her sorrow songs more and whatever, but that's also telling on where you at in life. You may need some more growing to do or some therapy going on or whatever for you to transition. But I love both sides. I love seeing the growth. I love seeing the diversity, the change, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not everybody can do. And some folks are still stuck in that because that's all they know how to do, unfortunately. Legends don't. They know how to move on and succeed in that growth along the way. 13 albums in. Not everybody can say they got 13 albums. So kudos to her, and I'm sure she drop an album right now. Guess who's gonna be buying it?
Listen,
guess who's gonna be rocking it?
Legends can show their growth, but still hold on to their roots at the same time.
Hold on to them at the same time.
It's the quality of music that they're pushing. Quality.
Yes.
Not just doing it for whatever. The content and the quality that's being pushed, and that's what's gonna last. And that's what it's
Absolutely. Like, for instance, we might switch gears just for a split second. A lot of hip hop artists changed along the way, but granted, hip hop changed. But to me, LL always stayed the same.
Woo!
No matter what, his music always stayed the same. He stuck to his roots, and he always
watch what I say about LL.
Always.
He married.
And that's why I'm like, you stick to what if you like. He changed his music up, but he stuck to the root, to the LL that we know him to be. He never had to switch up. He went Hollywood, but when he came to his music, he never switched up.
You know what I love too about when I was watching the documentary, and I know it's her album. She wrote a lot of the songs. She sang the songs. But when every time she sat down with someone and she was listening, her expression, like, it was almost like she was right back in the booth in 1993, 94. When she yelled out, when she was listening and repeating back her own lyrics to herself, and she was in awe of herself. That proves growth. That proves it. She was like, do you hear what I said? Do you hear? It's like, we know what you said, but
girl,
I loved every time she did that. She's crying, like she's still feeling that. I mean, that's just proof of how raw that album was, because she was in awe of it. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I think, like, it's not even growth, personal growth. Not even, like, I could be wrong, but I feel like it's one thing to put it out there for a public. It's a different one to admit it to yourself.
Yeah.
And you're the ones that are nearest and dearest to you. When she was having a conversation with her nephew, and her nephew was like, wow, like this.
Oh, she said,
my auntie wrote this. Like, my auntie did this. She was like, baby, your auntie was in pain.
Yeah.
Your auntie was hurting.
That's
what that was.
That was real. That was so real. That was so real. I know I read a comment on Twitter, I think it was on Twitter, where somebody said, oh, she didn't even speak about her marriage or whatever. She was married longer than she was with KC and so on and so forth. But what significance did he really bring to her career as a whole?
Exactly.
Nothing.
Since
but
he
that wasn't
did
what
not
this was for. Like, this was about My Life.
That was about marriage. Like, what significance did you really bring to My Life? Like, it playing on words. Playing on words. He didn't need to be referred to. What did you bring to My Life?
Well, let's be fair. He got her through her addiction. Let's be fair.
After the My Life album. After the My Life album. We ain't celebrating anything that he put in within that 25 years of celebration. Where were you? You wasn't even thought about yet. You weren't in that journey yet. So I'm glad she didn't. I'm glad she didn't, because I mean, that's another whole episode.
Oh yeah,
Another
that's yeah, that's a whole
we
nother,
all know
yeah.
that story. I just don't get it. You know, you grown
Yeah.
ass motherfucking man want to try
And
to
let me
get
tell
some
you
alcohol.
something.
Go ahead,
That
bitch.
was had
On
such a
that
significance for so many
bullshit.
people. Like my best friend's mom, head over heels for Mary J, just like the four of us, if not even more. You know, she's an older woman. So I was able probably to identify even more so what Mary was saying.
Yeah.
When Mary got married, you would have thought she was her daughter getting married. She was so disgusted. Why is she marrying this man? Why is she taking care of his kids? Like she was disgusted, completely disgusted.
I wasn't.
Like,
I was
the marriage had to
fine
go
with
to
her
calm
getting
down.
married with stepchildren. I was happy for her. All what turned me off from her union was when they separated and he just went into press tour to bash her and whatever.
Yeah.
That's what made me like, you, huh? And whatever. That's what did it for me. Along the way, we saw Mary being happy and loving and motherly and da 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 da, and it reflected in her music, and I love that. If he brought that, if that was his contribution, then great, thank you. But then to turn around and just spit on, like I just, you know what, you
It was
deserve it.
disgusting, yeah.
He was disgusting. Just disgusting. And I mean, he's not the first. Hopefully, he lasts in her life, but we can move on from that motherfucker.
We just fine. You know,
fine. Woo. Moving on. Dick Gregory on Showtime.
Oh, just let's wait.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay, go ahead and start.
So Dick Gregory on Showtime. I watched it. I actually watched it twice because I watched it when it first came out for the July. And then I watched it again this morning just to make sure my notes were accurate for me then and now, and they are. And they are, and then some. I got to say, thank you, Dick Gregory, for your dedication. Thank you for your love for your people. And I feel like we owe you an apology for not appreciating you more.
That part.
That was an angel on earth that we didn't even realize it until after he was gone. But I can't say that too because he did get a Hall of Fame thing. So I loved seeing that he did get some of his flowers while he were here to see it. I love the relationship with his children. 10, like, damn. Every time you came off tour, you got one out. Like, god damn. I'm like, I mean, it gotta be. Oh, we gonna go from the city to the country. You better be slaying it good then. If you got me coming out here in the boonies and staying out here, you better be. Yo, I love the opening statement. I waited 11 years to go into a white restaurant. Once they integrated, they didn't have what I wanted. I thought that was funny and accurate and very telling at the same time. This man is a trailblazer. This man was beautiful, and I was appreciative to see that his children acknowledged his sacrifices because a lot of these activists, their families suffer, and a lot of them don't get it until they late in the game. And I'm glad that his children got that early, where they were able to be a part of his career as they became adults. They're doing a good job too. Got to Google Christian Gregory and Dick Gregory Jr. What else I got? Beautiful man, beautiful soul, beautiful heart, hilarious as hell. I love the relationships that the comedians had with him. Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock had me laughing with the whole.
So hard.
Like, oh, Dick Gregory coming, and it's Dick Gregory coming. Like he that uncle, that drunk uncle. That's always spitting the truth every time you see him. That was beautiful to see at the same time. And when Kevin Hart said, can you do it with less aggression?
Yeah. Can I receive it first? Yeah. It was good.
Yo, and then they cut to where Chris Rock said something about he was like, the government making money every time somebody said the N-word. He was like, oh, wow. But at the same time, like, wouldn't you have loved to be a part of that? At the same time, wouldn't you have loved, because you knew where it was coming from, and it wasn't like it was coming from a crackhead or a dope hat. You know what I'm saying? It was somebody that really fought the fight for me. So I would have welcomed it. I would have appreciated it. I would have been like, Uncle, sit the hell down though. But at the same time, I would have appreciated it. thank you guys. I mean, thank you to the whole production for Andre Gaines, like for doing this,
Yeah.
for really doing this and doing it well, like doing it very very well. Everything about the film made sense, you know, and it all connected, and I learned so much more than I never knew about Dick Gregory. So maybe that's why I watched it again, because I was fascinated. You know, the whole vegan, bro. You would have loved that, like the way he turned vegan. Everybody
I got the book.
in the
I
house
have this
vegan,
book.
like
So, yeah.
he
Yeah,
chaining
yeah.
refrigerators, you know, to make sure you don't eat meat. Like that's very far, you know. But it was, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. That's all I have on Dick Gregory. Wanna go? Who's next?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
So outside of his comedic ways, had no clue about anything else about Dick Gregory until this documentary. Like you said, hats off to him. I so appreciate taking what you have and what you can do and converting that into activism. The His bravery, man, his bravery. I refuse to this day. When I've told myself, even as a child, after seeing certain movies, I would never step foot in Alabama or Mississippi. And this man went down to Mississippi amongst all these white folks and went down there, was telling something, dude, you could have got lynched down there. And he knew it. But he's like, I'm gonna do this. And them white folks was just eating it up. They was eating it up. Now, how could you not? It was fucking funny. So I'll give him that to be able to do that. And to thank you so much for having the bravery to do that and, you know, taking the initiative to do that. Because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have a fraction of the Black comedians that we have today. One of my favorite movies of all time, at least one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies, we wouldn't have Harlem Nights without Dick Gregory. He opened the door for Paul Mooney, bless him, the godfather of comedy, to come in. And what did we get from that? We got Richard Pryor. We got Robin
Bernie
Harris.
Max. We got
Bernie
Bernie
Oh,
Mac.
Bernie.
Rest in peace.
America, listen. Listen, y'all. America, listen. Go watch Dick Gregory piece, okay? And we got
Everybody.
the comedy, and
Everybody.
then let's not leave out the ladies,
Right.
because if it wasn't that too, open the door for them as well, and just to have that type of initiative and that type of strength in those days to go out and do that. And Billy, like you said, that first quote in the beginning. The first time I decided to integrate and they didn't have what I wanted, I was like, oh, what we about to watch right now?
That was good.
But I have, as the piece as a whole, I loved it. I loved hearing about his story. I'm going to give it a 4 stars only because I found myself having to rewind too many times. Like, hold on, go back. Hold on, go back, because I either didn't catch it or it wasn't grabbing me. The pace was way too slow. I don't know if anybody else felt that besides me. Was like, I'm sorry, can we speed this up just a little bit? I got what you're saying. Move on. The pace, bring it up, guys. So like you said, bro, I don't know how you watched this at night.
I did.
I would have fell
at night,
asleep
too.
because the pace was slow.
Yeah.
I would have fell asleep. Luckily, I watched this during the day, but I found myself even during the day. Where's the remote? Because I got to go back. Other than that, I definitely give it a 4. Good work, Dick Gregory. I thank you. I got nothing but love for you, baby.
Got
Nothing
some
but
love.
love for you, baby. I got nothing but love. Rest in peace, Heavy D. We are just giving all type of rests in pieces. Like, shout out.
You know, you always
Listen, we
gotta
lost a lot of
shout out
people.
and those that have transcended and
Right.
are with the ancestors in that next realm. I'll go ahead and speak in reference to Mr. Dick Gregory. And watching the documentary, I was really interested when I first saw that they did the trailers for it, because I was actually following Dick Gregory for a while. Like, even when he went to the Breakfast Club and was spitting that
Yeah.
knowledge, I was like, yes, go ahead. Because I think it was my true understanding of who he was listening to him on the Breakfast Club, honestly. When they brought individuals in, when they do their little segment one time when they try to fit the knowledge. So listening to him, I was like, oh wow, this gentleman is really on a roll here. And so even that, I had started to follow him on Instagram from then, and then even listened to a few of the lectures. Like, they did have one of the lectures that he did at one of the schools. So more recently, my knowledge of him has been since his older age, but even before, I did went ahead and ordered the book.
Hey!
For those that can see the Dick Gregory books.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, that
Background.
if they didn't see it, I will definitely be putting it
Yeah.
still up. So
I have not read it yet, but it's in my library. I did order it to have it in my library. It's one on my go-to books to read.
I gotta get it too.
Yeah, me
So
too.
definitely will be digging into the book. But I enjoy the documentary, the life story of his family. I do know as far as with when it comes to nutrition and eating on that, holistic type of style, picking up good memories from Dick Gregory, because he was like, if it pee, doodle, or shit, he don't eat it. Something like that. One of the terms he used to say. So you see the difference, and you
Yeah.
see when it comes to knowledge of health, the knowledge of self, and just getting back. And yeah, I was like, oh, this was a very attractive man when he was young too.
Yes,
So
very.
shout out to the wife. His wife was very
Beautiful.
gorgeous as well.
Beautiful.
Two beautiful
Gorgeous,
people that
yes.
put together. And I like that essence that they talked about in the film, because they was like, if it had not been for his wife, too,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be where he
Yep.
was.
Yep.
Because you did see he relied a lot on his wife, and
Mhm.
the support that she gave, respect that they had their children, and you didn't hear any drama
Nope.
or controversies or scandals.
Because he was hardly there.
But
90% of the time he on the
90% gone.
road. And when he was
Mhm.
home, they were making
90%
babies. They ain't had no time for
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah, so I respect
And
that.
birth control
Like,
was non-existent back
Not
then.
existent.
So you see the dynamic, just that family dynamic, to know that you have a black man and his black woman, and they building that family
And
dynamic.
he praised her, and he acknowledged her, and he put her
Yes.
on that pedestal. Rarity, we rarely see that, bro. We talked about
And
that
I'm gonna
before.
ask you something. I'm gonna ask y'all something, and I'm playing devil's advocate before I say my piece on it. So if your husband was gone 90% of the time and you had 10 children, what would you have needed
Mm.
to stay how I commend her?
Exactly.
It was the
Because
D.
I don't know.
It
I would've
was
been like,
the
what
D.
what you doing? Where
It
you
was
at?
the D. It was the D. She
But come on though, her and to watch her now on the documentary be so cool, calm, and collected, like she had almost had a life of. She never talked about a life of stress. She
Yup.
never talked about being lonely. She never talked about
she
being.
had time to be lonely.
You got 10 kids. How you lonely?
How you lonely?
But you know what I mean for
No.
for your husband. Like
Yeah.
you have done that. I'm just
Yeah.
asking. You
Yeah.
have done that. 'Cause me, I don't know if I could have done that.
Well,
I'm
it
not-
depends. Like I know.
90% of the time.
Well, I mean, it depends. If that person brings that out of me, where I choose to commit and support him like that, it's possible.
90%.
If that person is worthy of that, then I would know, to support that. But I can't right now. I held to the no, whatever.
That's-
Like
I
you
mean,
better
I'm saying,
hire a
I'm really-
nanny
me
because I'm on the
personally,
road
I'm
with
listening
you.
to this and I'm like,
it would have been that.
What?
Yeah,
You come home,
but
take a
at
baby,
the
then
same
you're fine.
time, we saw what they built. Like how
Yeah,
they
you can't dispute that. You can't dispute that.
you can't
No.
just do it with anybody,
And
and that's why to her, because like
Yes.
Kudos.
because if it
Definitely.
wasn't for her, he
Definitely.
wouldn't have been able to do
Yeah.
what he was
Yeah.
doing. So I
Yeah, but-
I give it to her, but also it was that D.
I don't care about no D. I get that, but come on, man. Tim, baby. Tim, beautiful. Tim,
Yeah,
baby.
you definitely have to give a round of applause to
Round
the
of
family
applause.
dynamic.
Yes.
Let's toast to
Even,
that. Let's toast to that.
give a toast to that, the essence
Yes.
of the black family holding it down.
Beautiful
And
black
yes,
family.
Thank you.
Beautiful
Baba,
black family.
Dave Gregory.
Thank
Also,
you.
salute to Mega Everest, because we saw that he was
Yes. Yes.
another
Amen.
family dynamic story into that, the Mega Everest, Dr. King. And all of these that have, it comes to put you in mind that it's just throughout time. Why, like, when it comes to those that were doing right by black folks, trying to do for the people, the
Right.
government always was trying to have it out with for them.
Always.
Either they gonna lock you up or they gonna try to kill you and assassinate you. So again, they fear our intellect and they fear our unity.
Fear. Yep.
Absolutely.
They
That's
do.
why they always try to divide us, because they know if we come together. At first of all, I feel like there was a reason why they went after them in the order that they did. They had to get Mega first, and then they went and got X, because he wasn't just here in the U.S. He was trying to unite Black folks around the world.
Around the
You
globe.
are very dangerous. We gotta take you out.
Yeah.
So that, and then I guess once they took out King, it was like, I'm sorry, you took out the most peaceful of the one.
How?
Oh no,
And such
no,
a
no, no.
violent way, like he said. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With me, when I watched it, so I watched it last night, and I'm glad that I did. I mean, I couldn't sleep, and I was like, you know what? Because at first I was gonna make it and be like, well, y'all, this is the one I didn't watch, but I am so glad that I did. I thought I knew Dick Gregory, and I realized I knew nothing about Dick
About the
Gregory.
sex
So
tape.
I'm so glad that I watched that. I have never seen a documentary or read about another human, African American male that lived like 4 lifetimes. I promise you, it felt like he was living so many lifetimes in his one lifetime. And the one thing I got from him by watching it is that he was not afraid to be Black. He was
That's
just
right.
not afraid to be Black.
Unapologetic.
Unapologetically
On the
Black should have been
in
his
Alabama,
place.
in Mississippi, you know, when he went on his vegan journey, like vegan, what's that? Like, he was never afraid to be a Black man. And that is what scares white people, especially back in that day, when you come up to the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings and the Medgar Evans, who are like, I'm Black, and they own their Blackness.
That's right.
And I love how he even paid homage to all the other Black people who was with him, who he said we'll never know their names. We'll never be able to watch a documentary on them. We'll never be able to read books about all these thousands of people who just were standing up for their rights, and they had these strong leaders who were, you know, just guiding them along the way. And I just love that. But literally, the whole documentary just had me thinking, this man is not afraid to be who the fuck he is. And I'm like, in respect. He got so much respect for me. I felt like myself holding my breath the whole time I was watching it. I mean, you're arrested 100 times. You're literally telling your wife, like, you may be raising these 10 kids by yourself because I'm going to do this. And she was still okay with that. Like, the love that had to be there, even if it's unspoken, just the love he had for his family, for himself first. You can tell he loved himself first. You have to love yourself first. He loved himself first. He loved his family, and he loved his people. And just to live your whole life. Sometimes at the end of the movie, when it went off at the end of the documentary, I could remember thinking, I hope he really had joy in his life.
Yeah.
Because when you sacrifice that much for other people, sometimes you're so caught up in the sacrifice, you don't even think about yourself. You're just like, I need to do this. He kept saying, I need to do this. I have to do this. I need to do this. I have to do this. So I'm thinking, I hope he was happy.
I believe he was.
Okay, and that's good. That is, and I want to believe that too. Especially when they showed him like walking that path, and when he got
The
to
wall
his
of
home in
fame.
the water, he said he had never been in most peace. But a lot of people like that, they're so engrossed in what's going on, they lose themselves in it. And I think he was always trying to stay on top of where he didn't lose himself. Because being that's, sacrificing that much, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And
I
he
believe
sacrificed himself over and over and over. His whole life was a sacrifice. His whole life. And that's just amazed me.
Like, how many people can say they lost over 300 pounds for the cause?
Crazy. And it made me think, Trisha, that maybe, you know how they have the running for, breast cancer and the jogging for AIDS and all that. They probably got that from him. I had never heard of that.
The bubble gum runner. Like, so that's where they got that reference from.
Never heard
I
of
thought
that.
about the same
And
thing, Billy.
I shouldn't say bubble gum Forrest.
Bubba Gump.
Forrest Gump.
No, I thought of that.
I should forgive me for saying that.
Running for the Vietnam War.
Right.
Yes.
Because
And it was in the
Gregory
movie.
was
Forrest
doing that.
Gump.
That's right, Gabby. Yeah. I was like, did they get all that from this? Just like you said, a trailblazer deserves again, I deserves way more. He did get flowers, but should have been just showered in them constantly. Man,
Absolutely.
outlived some of the biggest, people. Just you knew Malcolm. You knew who could say that you knew all these people, ate with these people,
James
cried
Baldwin.
with these people, laughed with these people, and still,
Baldwin.
oh my God, just an amazing life, Amazing.
And we'll do it all over again.
But you know what?
Yes,
and we'll do it all over again.
Yep. Amazing.
I
that
also
part doesn't
appreciate that his
shock me, bro.
children. I appreciate that his children acknowledged his purpose when he said, we may not have had that or whatever all the time, but we accepted that he was a father to the world.
And
they could have been like
all kinds
resentful.
of stuff. They could have gave their mom
resentful.
hell.
Yeah.
For nothing.
But
they
they embrace. So that's also a reflection of their love and respect that they have for each other, because it shows in their children. It has a ripple effect. So it was beautiful to witness that this is what we raised, and this is what we contributed to our people. And you know what I'm saying. And I to what you said, do you think if he probably went out, with joy in his heart? I believe he did, because when his wife and his son said that they wish they could have taken a picture of the look on his face when he was passing, his peace. And I think that peace came from because he had his loved ones around him. Yeah. At his final days.
And they were always together.
And they
the
were
picture when they showed the oldest graduating, and I mean, I started counting when I was watching them, and all 10 of them were there at the graduation. I'm like, they were always together.
Yep.
Always together.
Reflection of their parents. Reflection of their
yep,
dedication.
Always.
So he may have been on the road 90% of the time, but that doesn't mean it was for 90% of his life. I know
black families that stay together 100% of the time and don't achieve half of what he did.
Don't even know each other. They didn't even know each other.
It has nothing to do with it.
They didn't even know what they were doing into the funeral. I ain't know he had 3 kids, about 4 baby mamas. Like, very telling.
If I'm gonna piggyback off of what you were saying, Ro, like that is, like you said, the kids could have been resentful. They could have been, but they weren't. And I think, like you said, that does reflect on the family dynamic that they had with one another. But now if you go back to, and that's another thing too, when you was like, how many people could say that they knew all these people? When he's like, I have to do this, you're going to surround yourself with the people who are like-minded like you.
Yeah.
You're going to be down with the people who are down for the same cause as you.
Yeah.
And these folks were doing the same. So that's not shocking to me that you knew these folks. It wouldn't be shocking to me if you didn't probably go looking for them. They probably came looking for you once they found out what you were doing. And you guys all came together, you know what I'm saying? So that, what they say, lions running the pack sometimes? Like that's wolves running the pack, excuse me, not lions. Running the pack, because they all were hungry for a cause.
They were.
And they had to come together at some point or another to do that and support one another. And I think that's the most important thing. That's something I feel like that we're slowly getting back to, that was lost for generations within the black community, is support.
Yes.
Support. And can you imagine his heartbreak as he was losing these strong leaders in the community, but he kept going.
Yes, I think that was probably what gave him the energy.
Got shot, I'm going home. Ooh, MLK got shot, she lost her family, I'm going home. He kept going. I think
that's what gave him the fuel to keep going. Because this one's gone, we lost this one, I'm still here. I have to keep going because I'm still here. So I think that might have added fuel to him to keep going. Yeah. But if I may go back to your first question, because I didn't answer it, and I had to think about it for a minute.
Okay.
Because it's also, that's why I said, let me chew on that for a spell before I answer it. That's a loaded question, Ro, because you're asking, first of all, you're asking women in the 90s. Would we support, first of all, we having 10 kids? And then supporting a man who's going 90% of the time. Most of us have careers now.
Yeah.
Time to be spitting out 10 kids. Okay, one kid, let alone 10. So I'm like, if we would, I'm not.
It's not the 10 kids that got me. It was
but don't get me wrong.
With the 10
I'm not taking
kids
anything away from his wife. I'm not, because there were women even back then who could not do that and had that many children with a husband that was in house, and all 10 of your kids are a wreck. So I get it. I'm not taking.
And she
anything
ain't have
away
a nanny.
His, Right.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not taking anything away from his wife.
She packing all them lunches.
But she played the role of a wife for the time period that she was in.
Yeah.
That's what women did back then. You supported your husband.
You know the man, the type of man she had.
The type of man she married, and she probably, so that tells me in her heart too, she was a fighter. And in order to help your husband fight this good fight, I got to take care of home.
And she was okay with leading. She was okay with allowing him to lead.
Mm-hmm. You got to fight. Well, technically, that's the way it is. And I think even in general, us here, we were looking for that black man that we are willing to follow. We are willing.
I love that. Willing. Worthy enough to follow. Worthy enough to
That's
follow.
really what it is. So what it comes down to, and think about it, women didn't have to say yes to proposals back then if they thought that this wasn't the man who was going to lead them down the right path.
Right.
Again, somewhere along the lines, I got lost.
Right.
But then again, when you put that up against shotgun weddings,
he chose well. I mean, I don't know what the dynamic was.
They both did.
He chose well, and
I think they all did.
To him, and he knew it.
They all chose well. Megha Evers chose well.
Oh my God, they did.
X chose well. Like they chose the people to help them get them through the cause that they was gonna do. And the reason why I say they definitely chose well was because once X King and Megha Evers were assassinated, their wives took on kept going.
They kept going.
They kept going. Picked up right where their husbands left off. I remember Lifetime did a piece. I thought it was terrible. Lifetime did a piece on Betty and Coretta and their relationship. Mary J. Blige, she played Betty Blige. Terrible dynamic of it, but I enjoyed because Angela Bassett played Coretta Scott King. I'm not taking away from their acting. The writing was terrible. Lifetime, you need to do better. But I appreciate the concept that they brought to it. And at one point when they met at the Black National Convention in 72, I believe it was the first time that they met and they had them on the same stage. Coretta spoke for her husband and Betty spoke for her husband. And she was like, you know, Minister Farrakhan was there at the time, and I guess Betty was in her feelings because she believed that he had part of the death, which is another reason why I'm like, Lifetime, where you going with this? This is not what we know this to be. Farrakhan didn't have nothing to do with that. Why are you bringing this into that? But the concept, she was like, Coretta was like, they may have killed our husbands, Betty, but they didn't kill their ideas.
Right.
Now it's up to us to keep them going, and they did. Here it is. She got her husband a stamp. The other one got her husband a holiday. The other one got her husband a school, which I proudly teach at Medgar Evers College.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Right down the street from me.
It was beautiful.
Very, very, very beautiful. I also got to say, though, back to the question, not every man is worthy of that type of commitment and devotion, regardless how focused and determined he may appear to be, and not every man is worthy of that. And I'm not going.
And I love the way you're using the word man, because that's exactly what he was. And a lot of these black men call themselves men. I mean, you father 10 children. You marry this amazing woman. You work for humanity, for black people. You have a regular job. You're a comedian. Who can pull that? I mean, the strength and character in him,
and humility, and still was humble.
In the time period they were in,
and was still humble.
His hand was constantly giving, not trying to. When she talked about him writing off giving that check away for his kid's school, I was like, that's just, I mean, anybody could have done it.
Not everybody.
He never,
and when you look at men now, the arrogance of it all, like they so proud for nothing. Like even they haven't done a damn thing. Not a damn thing.
No, nothing.
Not a damn. Even the definition of baddie. What's the definition of baddie?
Thank you.
No.
Oh, definition of daddy is 10 kids, but I got 10 baby mamas. It's each one of them got their own mom.
And none of them is a baddie. None of them. Everyone is just a bend over toy. That you're not a baddie. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all get her fired up. We another episode, girl. You know, come on now. Let's bring her back. Bring her back.
You know.
Bring her back. Come back.
You know what I'm
saying?
It's
the truth, and I think this is why stuff like this needs to be seen, so that folks can definitely get a better understanding, both
of
men
what
and women.
A baddie means. You know, if you can, 10 kids and still support me and still use a baddie.
That's why I said my mouth was literally open as I'm watching this family dynamic that I have never witnessed. Yeah. To be honest.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've never witnessed.
You ain't see her having, like, removing her stomach fat to her ass fat to call herself a baddie. You ain't see her have to do that.
No.
You ain't see none of that.
I think we got close to it, but we didn't even see this on the Cosbys.
Woo!
They got as close as they could. They got close.
Girl, I'm trying to keep this show running. Don't be saying no stuff like that on it.
Billy, we talked about this earlier. We can't take away what he did.
I'm trying to stay on the air.
Now Jessica, we got to bring her back. She like, don't give me stuff.
Listen, he's out of jail. Let it go.
She ain't letting it go.
Hell to the no. You know, anyway, final comments on it? Because I give it a 5.
5, definitely a 5.
Yeah.
I'll step it up to a 4.5. I'll give it that.
Okay.
Because again, it was just that pace. It was like,
okay,
come on, pace it up. But ladies, I am going to let you guys go for today.
Yes, Jessica has to depart early.
I do have to part early. Yes. But I will see you guys next time. Take care.
Right.
Yep.
Bye,
and I will be you know, even though you're departing, I'm still going to put your logo in the slide for the rest of the conversation.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I should have sent you another one with a different outfit, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Bye, girl.
Have a good one.
Girl.
Hey,
bye.
those.
Oh, have fun.
Yeah. Trisha, what are you drinking? That looks delicious.
It's ginger ale and vodka.
All right now.
Okay, let me
strawberry, so I'm gonna be nice.
The rest of us are drinking wine, and you getting down with vodka.
I need something strong. I told you I watched that last night. No.
No, that's what you should have been drinking on the first episode. Okay, well we over here watching on the railroad and them and whatnot.
I know. These are my leisurely Saturdays when we do this because I get nice and tipsy and I just lay out for the rest of the night. And I'm like, woo, okay,
Nice.
that's it.
I like it. All right.
We're gonna move on to the final film, Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to talk about that one.
I do. So,
Go.
right. Two words. Angela Bassett. That's the only reason why I picked this film. Angela Bassett. Only reason why. I didn't even look at the damn trailer. All I saw Angela Bassett, in natural hair, and I was like, oh, this is a go. That was it. That was it. I didn't think about it clearly. I'm human, so I can make mistakes. So yeah. I did get a feel of Kill Bill,
Exactly.
Sin City, type of essence. This film had no goddamn story. God, like what? But Angela Bassett was in it. That's all that mattered.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It looked
I don't know
very
if we all need 2
expensively
minutes, so
made.
please, I think we probably just need to jump in. We need to jump in so we can fill in these 2 minutes. Go ahead, Gabby. Like
It
you
was.
about to
It
say
looked.
something.
Seriously, it did look expensively made.
Gunpowder Milkshake. First of all, when I was watching, I was like, "This is interesting." I'm like, "Why this lady looks familiar? Her face."
Yeah.
Come to find out, that's the lady from Game of Thrones. I'm
Yep.
thinking Cersei Lannister. There she go, but
Yep.
it's Lena Headway. So
Yeah.
Netflix Gunpowder Milkshake definitely got Quentin Tarantino vibes to it. I was like, what's going on here? To me, it was really short. It's like an hour and a half. The characters that played on it, definitely an action type of thrill type of movie, like type of action.
That's all it was. It was action. Ain't had no story.
It was an action
It
flick.
was just action.
Definitely have to, it was something for the ladies. Action flick showing you ladies style was kicking butt, and they was down getting dirty, like that aspect of it. So, for some reason, I keep on thinking my Milkshake brings other boys to the yard because it was all females, but they was fighting against all males.
Yeah.
So, that's the aspect. I enjoyed it a bit. Adventure thriller. It was like kind of kick action. And again, Angela Bassett, she was in there for a brief amount with the other two ladies that the so-called librarians. But that was interesting with the weapons inside of the books. Kind of paid it off. But definitely an
The
action
power
thriller.
in words. That's the metaphor I got from that.
Seeing Paul Gamini as Nathan, the whole you working for an organization that turns around on you, and they, one of those things where you can be dismissed or you can be get rid of by the snap of a finger because ain't nobody know of the organization type of feel to the movie. I would give it about a 3.754.
All these fractions.
It's a lot. Girl, them a lot of numbers. Them a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I give it. I'm gonna say about a 3.
I'm gonna give it a number.
3.754.
Like I enjoyed it, but it was just more so. I respect the females was holding it down. It's like an action thriller, so
Yeah.
I would say that. Yeah, action thriller. Angela Bassett, she look good. I hope when I'm that age, I'm popping like that.
Beautiful.
I'm trying from now because she is beautiful. Like
Beautiful.
she's past her 60s and look like you in your only 30s, Mom. Like
You know what I'm saying?
respect. So, for those that like action type, blood going everywhere and type of thing, definitely would recommend a watch for it. But that's what I say about it. It was okay.
There was only one main scene that I liked. It was the trek in the restaurant that was following along the bar as the action was relaying. That I think that was the hit maker the of the whole film because
the highlight
because it was what exactly was the story.
So this is the thing. So I'm gonna put in my little 2 cents, and it is a little 2 cents. So this is the thing. The movie was just for entertainment purposes. There wasn't supposed to be a story. There wasn't supposed to be anything. You just you call Michelle Yeoh. You called, I cannot think of her name, the one who died because she's super famous too. You call Cersei
Lannister.
But you call Angela Bassett, and they say yes, we'll do it. Damn it, we doing it. You know what I mean? That's the you just had to
get to kick ass like Kill Bill.
I think it was just for fun. It probably was stress relief for them. There wasn't a lot of dialogue to learn. They just get to be, doing something. The only one that I've ever seen that plays action films was Michelle Yeoh because she did Hidden Tiger dragon.
All of them. Anything karate.
Every last one of them. Yeah. So she's she's been an action. I follow her because I love
But she's
her
also a good
style.
actress, not just a good.
She's a great. No, she's
a great
amazing.
actress.
But everything I've almost seen her in, she's doing some type of action type, deal. But it was
And
just
she
for entertainment.
aged well too.
She did. They all did, and I like that too because they used a lot of older women. The only one who wasn't older was the daughter, and I've never seen her in anything before. So I mean,
The storyline was hit women. They were assassinating.
Basically, that was
Yeah.
it. They were. Like I said, it was just entertaining. I felt a little, and I'm gonna say some Angela Bassett here. I just felt a little weird seeing her act like that. I didn't expect it. I don't know.
I think that's why she.
Did you think it was believable? Did y'all feel like it was
Yes,
like?
I think it was believable.
Okay.
Specifically, the restaurant
I'm trying
scene.
to feel it out and get all of her other movies out of my head to see her kill somebody with 2 hammers. Like, I'm trying to do this. let me do.
That's not Coretta
Let me
Scott.
see
Coretta
Aaron
Scott wouldn't
Neville
hit nobody with a
slam
hammer.
And so when she picked him up, I'm like, bro, get ready for this because we about to see what Angela Bassett knows to do.
That's a child of mama. She don't act like that.
Getting her out. And she probably, wanted to do it to get out of her comfort zone. To say she did something different.
Because she
So,
did
yeah.
give it. We did see her.
She gives everything her all.
She gives everything her all the time. I thought it was a
Everything.
pleasure. I thought it was pleasurable to see her in something that
In a
we
different
never
light.
see. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that. Especially
Yeah.
so violent. It was
very violent.
She's usually the
She
other.
probably loved it. She probably loved it.
You could tell her face expressions when she bashed that man head into the milkshake. It was she enjoyed every second
That's
of that.
one thing Angela Bassett has, those face expressions.
You know what I'm saying?
God. It's just
Yes,
like,
she do.
oh,
It don't matter what I love. This is what I love about Angela Bassett.
let's go. Let's go.
It don't matter what character she played. We still refer to her as Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
She was what? Everything. But we still Angela Bassett in the thing. Angela Bassett. What? T'Challa, Killmonger, and Angela Bassett. It was no.
Whatever
It don't
she
matter
really
what
was.
character she played. We still refer to her
They gave her her
as
name.
Angela Bassett. She could play Jesus' mother. She could play Mary at the cross. You know we're gonna be saying, you saw Angela Bassett at that cross? Girl, she was crying. Like, that's us. That's Angela Bassett is just that essence that speaks for itself, where she should not be renamed. She will be only Angela Bassett.
Let
and
me ask
nothing
you
else.
something.
Given.
Was her name in the movie? Were they trying to mimic her name in Tina Turner?
Yeah, you did catch that anime comment?
They called it, and that was her name. Her name.
Yeah.
That was her name in the movie.
And I was like,
it was anime.
I didn't like that part.
Her name was anime in the movie, and I said, okay, that's odd.
That's
I don't know
reaching.
who thought that would be funny.
Yeah, that was nothing. It was nothing funny about that, because I was like, when I heard it, I said, huh?
And they said it more than once. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's her name in the movie. It was anime. And when it went off, I made sure when I watched the credits,
Yeah.
and I was like,
That was a stupid reference.
decided to do that?
Again, the overall story.
she's so. You put it on the spreadsheet. You put
I
it on
sure
the damn
did.
spreadsheet.
I sure did. Angela Bassett could have been in a mud movie, and I'm putting it on the damn list.
But overall, like I said, if you don't have nothing else to do, you need to, file your nails or
You want to, learn some new karate
learn
tricks.
do karate. Just it's entertaining.
That's what it is. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Yep.
Action. It's an action story. And I also, creatively speaking, I did enjoy some of the angles.
Okay.
I thought some of them were pretty clever. But it was a slow movie in slow motion.
The fight scenes were pretty good though. They
Yeah,
weren't too
that
bad.
was it. It was just
The
an
fight
action
scenes were-
movie.
She said that's it.
It was just an action movie, and beautifully shot though.
Yeah.
Beautifully shot.
Well.
I do
So,
question
yeah,
if
round of applause for the ladies.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I felt
and
like
they
this was
ended up-
supposed to be a older version of Charlie's Angel. Like I got that feel of it too. Like the whole disguise, as something that they're not, and then the next thing you know, they're actually real assassins and what have you. It was like, okay, we have seen this so many times. Well, I need to see it again. But the action scenes were still awesome to watch, though.
Yeah.
All of them in slow motion, but it was still, awesome to watch.
A fun watch. It was a fun watch. I've seen worse. I've seen worse.
I could have left it off the list. Just bottom line.
Girl,
I could have left
Stop. All right. Well, good.
So, That is the hold on. That is the end of our show though. I will make sure I say it accurately. That is the end of our show. I'm T. Billi Martin, and I want to thank Ro, Gabby, and Jessica for joining me today. If you agree with anything we have shared, please let us know by commenting on the YouTube, Facebook pages. Also, be sure to follow Jessica, Ro, and Gabby on their social media platforms, and don't forget to like Women Are Talking on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and tell a friend to join the conversation next time. Until then,
And like the button.
and
Press
like the button.
Yeah,
Right,
like the button.
really, like the button. Anyway, until next time, be safe, be smart, and thank you for your time.
In New York City like a tourist, but on the low I'm a foreigner, coming out them stores in designer. I'm in the boroughs where my mother came up out, you know she made a champion. Now I'm touring all in different countries, counting